Pakai virtual background ya.
Halo Mbak Iva, tes 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 tes. Gimana? Halo, tes tes. Kayaknya salah satu mati deh. Coba ngomong. Halo, tes tes. Coba cari. Halo, halo, tes. Masih kecil?
Halo, halo, kedengeran, kedengeran suara.
Tapi ketua kelompok itu
everyone, welcome to Summer Course Program 2024, a summer course by Master of Literature, Faculty of Humanities, Diponegoro University, Indonesia, one of the leading public universities in Indonesia. My name is Anissa Rinjani, and you can call me Rinjani. I'm your Master of Ceremony for today's meeting. Today's program will consist of 3 sessions, an opening remark, course sessions with the topic Kesenian dan Festival Budaya Indonesia, and then we'll end it by attendance checking and closing session. Next, I'll read for you about the rules for this session. First, please change the virtual background with summer course virtual background that already shared in your WhatsApp group. Second, write down the username with the format name underscore origin. For example, Husnul underscore Indonesia. Husnul for the name and Indonesia for origin. Third, participant must dress politely and behave during the course. Fourth, all participants must turn off the loudspeaker or microphone during the event, except when they are invited to speak by the MC or moderator. Fifth, all participants are required to fill in the attendance list. The attendance link will be shared in the Zoom chat column. And the last, participants can ask questions in the chat Zoom column with the format name underscore origin underscore question content or raise hand. Summer Course Program 2024 by Master of Literature has brought together international students and scholars for more than 50 participants from 9 countries across the world, such Sorry, I have bad signal. I will continue. Summer Course Program 2024 by Master of Literature has brought together international students and scholars from more than 50 participants from 9 countries across the world, such as Pakistan, South Korea, Yemen, India, Vietnam, and many more. We thank you for your interest in participating in this event. And this event will take 1 week, from yesterday until Saturday, every 3 p.m. in Jakarta time, Indonesia. I'm sure you will get a lot of fun and useful things in this summer course program. So don't miss your opportunity and make sure every moment and every second is precious. So this is the rundown for day 3. You all can see the schedule. Okay, so we will start from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. Jakarta time with Mr. Rifka Pratama SSM Hum from Faculty of Humanities, Diponegoro University. So, before going through the next agenda, we invite you to take a picture together. Can you all please open your camera? Okay, I will count down. 3, 2, 1. Next. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We will shortly begin our course session, which will be brought to you by Miss Sohifadia Puspitasari SS, or you can call her by Mbak Iva as the moderator today. But before we hand over the session of her, let me read her short curriculum vitae. Her name is Sohifadia Puspitasari and usually calling by Mbak Iva. Mbak Iva is one of the students of Master of Literature, Faculty of Humanities, Diponegoro University. She was graduated from Universitas Negeri Semarang in 2022 for her bachelor degree majoring in English Literature program. Her achievements are as the village library who increased children's interest in reading during pandemic in 2021. And then conducting research entitled Film as the Media of Social Critics about Environment, Structuralism in Film Vol E in 2021. And one of her last extraordinary achievements is she has completed her literary work and has published it entitled Ratu Alengka in 2024. So, without any further ado, Mbak Iva, screen is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Jenny, for letting me guiding this session. So before I start, let me introduce myself first. My name is Soifadia Puspitasari and you can call me Iva. I am the moderator for this session with Mr. Rifka as the speaker. First of all, let me calling Mr. Rifka. Hello, Mr.
Hello, moderator. Good to see you today.
How are you today?
Great. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Before I start, let me read the CV of the speaker. Mr. Rifka Pratama MA is a lecturer for over 5 years, specializing in American cultural studies with English as a secondary discipline. During this time, also have taught various courses, including British and American society and culture, cross-cultural communication, religion and culture, and English language skills such as listening, speaking, interpreting, and writing. He was graduated from Faculty of Humanities, Universitas Diponegoro, Semarang in 2012 in English language and literature with a focus on American cultural studies. He's also graduated from Faculty of Cultural Science in Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta in 2015 with American Studies as the major, and also he graduated from Griffith University, Australia in 2017, delegated at English language teaching workshop. Mr. Rifka, before we start, let me tell you that you have approximately around 60 minutes for the presentation, and then we'll be continued by Q&A session. Would it be enough?
Sounds good. Yes.
All right, before we start to hear presentation from Mr. Rifka, I would like to remind all participants that all of you can ask the question by writing it down on the chat box, or you can also raise your hand and I will let you to open your mic. And yeah, without any further ado, let's start the course with the topic is Kesenian dan Festival Budaya Indonesia. Are you ready, Mr. Rifka?
Yes, I am.
All right, then the screen is yours.
Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you today online. I see a lot of participants from different countries, but mainly I see, more Indonesian participants in this session of summer course. It's a very good opportunity for me to deliver some as well as discuss some issues on the Indonesian Arts and Cultural Festival. I would need to, first talk about my expertise. Actually, I've been working on the issue of culture, but specializing in American cultural context. So the committee told me to work on this one. Hopefully, I can deliver the issue as well as possible, so we can have a fruitful discussion afterwards. Yeah. I hope everyone is doing great today, and I would like also to thank through the committee, Ibu Dr. Ken Widiawati as the head of the committee, as well as the head of the Literature Master Program, Dr. Suryadi. And it is an honor for me to be here to discuss the issue on, Indonesian art and cultural festival. Well, everyone, let's begin the session by having a short discussion over the topic of culture. I believe everyone has been familiar with the term culture for many years, I guess, since we are studying, since we studied in elementary school. Perhaps that sounds familiar for us to hear this term like every day in different kind of occasion. And I made probably a quick research through the Google. I tried to type the word culture, and what I got from the browser is that the word culture, specifically Indonesian culture, suggests us this interesting picture. We can see lots of people dancing, wearing traditional clothes as well as performing, sophisticated art performance. And yes, this is what we got. And this no this what is it called? This result is, I believe, is not automatically generated. It comes from what people think about culture itself, what they have in mind when it comes to culture. So most of people probably still think that culture is merely a form of art, and probably specifically like dancing and wearing the traditional clothes, something like that. But we should try to dig more on the concept of culture, as it has become unfinished discussion, I guess. Yeah, because so many experts have different kind of views on the definition of culture itself. And I tried to dig more. I tried to go with some more specific probably prompt or ideas. I tried to type the words Indonesian festival. Indonesian festival. Surprisingly, it still suggests the same picture that what I've got here is that I see lots of people wearing traditional clothes, especially the Balinese women, and some men, I guess, wearing the traditional clothes as well. And then we should try to raise a questions. What's the difference of culture and festival, as both still suggest the same exact result, probably in the context of Indonesian cultural practices. So does anyone here have any idea on what I got, that when I tried to search for the words culture, Indonesian culture, and Indonesian festival, both keywords are still suggesting the same result. Do you have any view on this, or have you tried probably to find other result from the same keywords? If you have any idea, or probably you want to have a comment on this result about why it happened, or probably what makes it like that, I will be so glad to read your comments. Anyone? You want to try? Or you can just say something through the audio. Okay, I cannot still find the. Okay, good. All right, I'm trying to zoom in the screen anyway. There is a request from the participant. Yes, this is what we've got. This is what we got when I try to search for the word Indonesian festival. And previously, we have the other result, Indonesian culture. Any comment from the participants? No? All right. I'm going to proceed with the next slide, perhaps, while you can also think about what you might have in mind about this result that I found on the browser. Yeah. Well, my apologies. I find it difficult to move the slide, so I think I would need to zoom out the slide again. A minute, please. Sorry about the trouble. All right. The next topic will be the key concept of the course. We got several terms to define as well as to understand. That is the term culture itself and the concept of ceremony, a festival, traditions, rites and ritual. I believe it is quite common for us to hear this all these terms in our daily basis activity. Yeah. But the question is that can we define it? Can we define it in a more theoretical way so that we could have a better insight on understanding the concept of culture around us? Yeah. There are several definition I took from the books as well as some expert notions. That the first thing that I got is from Tisler. Tisler himself defined culture as all that human beings learn to do, to use, to produce, to know, and to believe as they grow to maturity and live out their life in the social group to which they belong. While Tyler, the more classic one, E.B. Tyler in this case, defined culture as the complex whole, which includes knowledge, belief, art, law, moral, custom, and any other capabilities acquired by man as a member of society. And the last that I took comes from Hofstede. He himself described culture as the collective programming of the mind, which distinguishes the member of one group or category of people from another. Until this slide, I guess, this term, all that human beings, and the complex whole can be confusing us in some ways, that it could probably distract our attentions on from the existing knowledge on culture, that culture is merely like this art manifested in several art performance like dancing, music, traditional clothes. We have to broaden the concept, we have to try to get out of the, existing concept dominating the internet, that culture is only a performance art, or art performance, I mean. Yeah. It is quite clear that some of the definitions, include the more specific terms, like that culture includes knowledge, belief, art itself, law, moral, custom, and any other capabilities, which sounds like more general, that is acquired by a man or man as a member of society. So art itself in this context is considered as a form of culture according to a classic definition of culture. And yes, I believe that culture is somehow, what is it called, quite hard to define, because we got a lot of expert, debating this concept. Um, okay, I think I lost the slide, so I would need to use another slide to help you with the definition that I have just talked about. Wait a minute. My apologies. Okay, it goes back. Good. Yeah. So it is quite hard to really have one single definition of culture, as it suggests a lot of cultural elements. And what we agreed on is that culture doesn't only include one or two or three even elements that we just saw. It is not only art, but art is considered as culture. Okay. In the context of Indonesian society, we actually have a, you know, interesting formulation of culture coming from the government, as what you can read from the slide, that according to our, some sort of, constitution, it is a legal standing, not legal standing, sorry, a legal concept brought by the government. It is said that culture is, the national culture is rooted in Pancasila. That is the five principle that we have as a foundation of our country. Symbolizes the collective creativity, labor, aspiration of the Indonesian people. It is cultivates the nation dignity and identity, and provides guidance and purpose for national development across all facets of life. Accordingly, cultural development is fundamental to the advancement of the nation. Despite of the debates over the concept of culture, our government in Indonesia the what is it called, national legal concept. It is said that the definition of culture should confirm with the foundation of our country, that is Pancasila. So anyone who is not familiar with Pancasila, we would like to show you that this is our Pancasila, the picture you can see there. It's called Garuda, some sort of, motto below the picture, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which means unity in diversity. And we've got five principles. First is ketuhanan yang Maha Esa. Second is kemanusiaan yang adil dan beradab. Persatuan. Third is persatuan Indonesia. Fourth is kerakyatan yang dipimpin oleh hikmat kebijaksanaan dalam permusyawaratan perwakilan. Fifth is keadilan sosial bagi seluruh rakyat Indonesia. I'm trying to translate each of the principle with my own language. It might not be an accurate translation, but it perhaps has brought the substance of each principle. The first is means unwavering belief in God, that our country, Indonesia, bases in the belief of God. And second, upholding a just and civilized humanity. And third is uniting Indonesia as one entity. We have recently you know, some sort of conflicts that becomes a concern of the government. And this third principle of Indonesian of the state, yeah, encourage us as a diverse community to unite. Within the diversity, there should exist unity. That is really encouraged by the government. It even becomes, a mandatory part of our curriculum to learn about Pancasila. And number four, which will become the fourth principle, is implementing democracy guided by inner wisdom and anonymity from representative deliberations. That's why we have a direct, political elections or presidential elections, as well as a assembly, in the context of three branches of government: the executive, and legislative, and judicial. And number five, the fifth principle is that the five principles suggests us to ensure the social justice for all the people of Indonesia. And getting back to the definition of culture according to our government, according to top MPR, it is some sort of legislative assembly or something, that the cultural expression in Indonesia, should reflect the value of Pancasila, or five principles. This might not be implemented strictly, as we have different kind of cultural expressions, but in the context of national scope, this value still exists, that the country itself, when it comes to cultural performance, should confirm to the value of Pancasila. That's why there are sometimes some issues about freedom in Indonesia. It is usually comes from some sort of conflicting values that is considered by some people that is not reflecting the idea of Pancasila itself. But anyway, we can solve it. All right. Well, to make it easier, we should try to go up to the easier classification of culture. Tomalin and Hearn, as I quoted from them, suggest there are two types of culture that can help us to classify it in a more specific way. They're actually quoting from some other expert. Yeah, it's called visible and invisible culture. The first term, the visible culture, clearly, an observable one. Any form of culture that it's easy to see, to touch, probably if it's a thing, yeah. And it's like browsing on the internet and see and type the Indonesian culture, and we see some Indonesian people wearing their traditional clothes, yeah. And the clothes itself is a visible culture. It is said that this type of culture is observable even to those with limited exposure to a new culture, such as tourists and infrequent business travelers. But we cannot only stop at looking culture in this kind of form, as it may suggest, it may have a deeper meanings within what we can see physically. There's idea, there's philosophy, there is value to understand. It is called the invisible culture. From what I noted here, it is analogous to the bulk of the iceberg. There is an analogy implying this kind of classification, that to understand culture, it's like to see an iceberg. It has two surfaces, First is the upper, and second is the deeper one, or the beneath the surface. Yeah. Um, the iceberg encompasses implicit aspects such as assumptions, values, attitudes toward authority, risk-taking, punctuality, communication patterns, societal power dynamics, and status definition. Today I'm wearing batik. It has a dragon picture on the batik. It seems to be just like just a cloth to wear, or just a shirt to wear. But for some who understand culture, who understand philosophy, the picture of the dragon itself, of the dragon picture, may be interpreted in complicated way. Why the person wearing the shirt? Why it has to be a dragon? And why the color should be, for example, blue or white? It may suggest to more complicated, interpretation. That's why it's called invisible culture. It cannot be seen instantly from the first time or at the first sight, we call it. It may have various interpretation. And to make it easier to understand, the pictures can be seen over here. It is from Edward T. Hall's. It's called Cultural Iceberg. When we think about food festival, it can be easily seen, physically seen. We get into the venue and we see lots of people eating the food, the traditional food, and joining some parties in the festivals, listening to the music, dancing. It is visible culture, the colors or anything. But when we go deeper, we will see that probably certain kind of dancing movement, some sort of traditional food, especially in Japanese culture, would have complicated interpretation in it. It may have a value, it may reflect attitudes, it may reflect belief. So it will be easier for us, yeah, to use this kind of classification when understanding culture. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Or you could perhaps, give some comments on the concept of culture or your experience perhaps about when it comes to defining culture, or you may give also some examples of what culture practices that you are familiar with. You can type any words on the chat column if you want to. All right. Still no questions or comments? All right, so I go further with the concept of culture. I took the concept from the cultural anthropology, asking question about humanity. It is said, yeah, since style time, anthropologists have developed various cultural theories. These theories identify 7 critical elements essential to any theory of culture. That cultural first is learned. Culture uses symbols, and third, culture are dynamic, always adapting and changing. This is what I'm going to talk about later when it comes to the changing of, culture, high culture into, popular culture. Am I audible? Anyone? Can you confirm, the moderator? Am I audible?
Yes, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And next will be culture is integrated with daily experience. Culture shapes everybody's life. Culture is shared. And the last one is understanding culture involves overcoming ethnocentrism. We can have one single view when it comes to diverse cultural practices. It is quite difficult, or so difficult for us to have a you know an idea of cultural harmony if we cannot overcome the ethnocentrism anyway. Okay. This one, culture uses symbol. It might be easily understood using this iceberg analogy. It's like when I talk about the use of certain color to impress certain feelings. In Indonesia, for example, there comes common knowledge that our flag, red and white, yeah, it suggests special kind of meaning. That red, it suggests bravery, while white suggests sacredness. It is symbolic. It comes from our culture, the invisible one, that we give meanings toward things. It is symbol. That's why it is not easily understood when we go to deep culture or the beneath the surface. Yeah. Okay. All right. These are all the basic concept of culture, which sounds like complicated, I guess. And I tried to proceed with the other concepts in culture we call as popular culture. Coming from Stuart Hall, he proposes three distinct ways in which we can understand the concept of the popular. And according to him, the concept of popular include first, popular as being well liked by the masses, and second, popular as simply what people do, and third, popular as being in contrast to the dominant or elite culture. Okay, most of us have had already understanding on popular culture simply by going to a cinema and watching some popular movies from the Marvel Studios, perhaps, or something else. Yeah, we realize that uh, our coming to the cinema to watch certain popular movie, it is clearly reflecting our participation in the so-called popular culture. We take part in making the culture popular, as many people comes to the cinema to join the masses, to celebrate what they think is interesting, what they think worth celebrating. And this is an explanation for the popular culture as being well liked by the masses. So one of the criterions of the popular culture is well liked by the masses. But we cannot just stop at using this category, this first category. We can also go with the second category, that is popular as simply what people do. When it comes to the word elite, or the probably a certain category of people which is exclusive in a way they are practicing their lifestyle, which probably I could not afford. Yeah, so they're making their circle, they're being exclusive, while I myself am joining the more popular way that most of us are doing in our daily basis activity. So popular as simply what people do. Yeah, popular as what people do. Most people do. It is not exclusive. And the third, it's quite hard to understand this actually. I myself do not really have a comprehensive understanding on this, but I'm trying. Popular as being in contrast to the dominant or the elite culture. In this case, what is meant by the dominant is those who control many aspect of in our life, whether it is the media, whether it is the probably the economic lifestyle, they might be the what is it called, the exclusive circle, or the so-called elite in this case. So the masses, us or me, included in the popular because I'm doing what most of people do, what most of the people do. Okay. The second one, popular culture is also commonly associated with either mass culture or folk culture and is distinguished from high culture and various institutional culture, such as political, educational, and legal culture. This association with mass culture highlights the role of popular culture within a capitalist mode of economic production. This is one of the keywords we need to remember, that a popular culture is some sort of designed by the capitalists. It is not that it is bad or good. It is just a formula to understand the concept of popular culture. There's always capitalization within the, what is it? Within the practice of popular culture. Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. I think I will need your help, everyone. So the moderator could also encourage the participant to give us some samples, some example of popular culture. You may come up with Indonesian context. What you think is popular culture within the Indonesian context or the other context. I would really be glad to read your comments. So, the moderator, would you please help me to encourage the participant to come up with their ideas on the examples of popular culture?
Okay, sir. So for all the participants, please write down your argument to the text box or just raise your hands. About what do you know about the popular culture? Just feel free to write down your answer, please.
Okay. Um, Let me try to help you with some samples I have in mind. We may think that certain, Indonesian building is considered as sacred or is highly respected by the society. We may have something in our mind when it comes to this kind of buildings, whether it is a religious buildings or national building, something like that. In this case, the respect, the values, the ideas are all sacred, are all some sort of what is it called? Not so popular. Yeah, it's like understanding the idea of establishing national monument, Monas. It reflects Indonesians' independence. It reflects national pride, something like that. In which we do have that kind of values reflected from the building. It is high, and on top of that, there is a gold. Yeah, it reflects victory, perhaps. It's all not popular. we seems to be reluctantly study this kind of thing. Yeah, that is probably we feel sleepy when we hear this kind of things that national monument is blah blah blah. But many people come to see the national monuments, and there are lots of souvenirs sold by the street seller, and there might be a concert around the national monuments, and somehow national monuments or monas is getting popularized. It might reflect the so-called popular culture. And in this context, we can see that popularization of culture can be done anyway. So instead of only focusing on the values that sounds like perhaps boring, people are trying to popularizing the thing or the stuff in order to be popular culture. It deals, of course, with a capitalist mode of economic production as stated by Kidd 2017. It goes like that. Yeah, and I will also bring this discussion to some samples that I took about Indonesian's art and cultural festival later. Yeah, and let's understand more about the concept of popular culture. According to Stuart Hall, it is further stated that that popular culture, it has mass appeal and the business of culture. For Hall, the critical issue with such mass appeal is intricately linked to consumer commercialism and the utilization of cultural products in the popular domain. So indeed, it reflects consumer commercialism. And when we talk about capitalization, these two are in line. That the utilization of cultural product can be part of consumer commercialisms, thus it becomes popular culture. It attracts a lot of people, it becomes the center of the business, and things that we thought were sacred somehow can be capitalized and it becomes more popular. Yeah. Again, I'm not talking whether it is good or bad. We're just trying to discuss the idea on how culture can be popular. Okay. And next, mass culture and the popular as what people do. How do we define this? How do we comprehend these phrases? It is important to understand that popular culture is incredibly diverse. We've got lots of popular culture product, starting from shoes, pants, shirt, hat, music, films, everything is almost popular. It extends beyond international bestseller anyway. We're not talking only about whether the product is a bestseller once or not, but it also should encompass anything that is part of the popular domain and any activities engaged in by people. In essence, whether a cultural phenomenon is embraced by a few or many, it is considered part of popular culture. So, in essence, whether a cultural phenomenon is embraced by a few or many, it is considered part of popular culture. The key word is here. Whether a cultural phenomenon is embraced by a few or many, it is considered part of popular culture. So, this is popular culture as what people do. If we have more than one formula according to Hall, then it's good. It is what is it called? It makes it stronger. It makes it more popular than, yeah, this context. Okay, haven't still got any participant making some, samples of the popular culture. If you have any questions or perhaps comments on the popular culture samples, I will be so glad to discuss with you, everyone. All right. Okay, I got one, I guess. Well, my bad. Thank you, moderator, for telling me that I was still muted. Yeah. All right, I got one comment from Ibu Nur Hasanatun Nikmah. Thank you for the samples. It says example of popular culture is batik. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Example of popular culture is batik. Yeah, we used to have a concept. We used to have, yeah. We have such concept that wearing batik can be reflecting certain values, like that batik is reflecting politeness, that batik is reflecting a degree of formality, so it's acceptable to wear batik in formal occasion, or it is encouraged to wear batik in formal occasion. It is Indonesian values, perhaps I would say that. But nowadays we see that batik is not only worn in such kind of occasion, whether it is formal or very formal, but we can simply see people wearing batik, for example, for their t-shirt. They make t-shirt from batik pattern. They probably using batik for their wallpaper in their cell phone, something like your laptop. You got special kind of batik pattern in your with your gadgets. So it sounds like it's getting popularized. It's so popular culture. In a way, it is sold for the masses, and it is probably widely accepted by the masses. Yeah, it could be part of the uh, phenomena, the popularization of batik. And we do know that there are certain industry taking part in the selling of batik, making uncountable batik selling, and it gets them it gives them many financial benefits, like lots of financial benefits in this case. And they're creating batik in a more creative way. It is not only for shirt. Yeah, it may be for the, what is it called, scarf, something like that, or the other things. Okay. Good. I've got another comment from Anissa Rinjani. She said, Korean clothes and foods. Yeah, the Korean trends, the Korean waves trend. It is, yeah. I do agree with you. So it's like, popularizing, and, lots of people do that. There are even communities doing this kind of in the context of batik popularization, or perhaps other stuff popularization, that the media take part intensively, I guess, in making a form of cultures getting popularized. And we do know that in certain occasions, perhaps some expert will agree on this, that media is some sort of capitalist representation within our democracy. So it has, what is it called? It has a power. It has a power to monopolizing, perhaps to monopolize the capitalist mode of economic production. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the two participants. Really appreciate that. And I'm going to go further with the other key concept before getting into the festival. We're talking later about the ceremony. In this context, ceremony is defined as, traditional ceremony can be interpreted as a ritual of giving offering to the ruler, the Almighty God, and as a form of thanksgiving and request for salvation. And this traditional ceremony is carried out by all members of the community. In Indonesia, we see a lot of traditional ceremony intended to, respect the ruler, the Almighty. Yeah. And the festival itself, here it is defined as a social phenomenon found in virtually all human culture, its vibrant variety and dramatic intensity, along with underlying deep meanings. So we go to the YouTube and browse some videos, type Indonesian festival, culture festival. We'll find a lot of Indonesian festival, various Indonesian festival. But what we might miss is that the reports or the videos, not all of them, of course, do not really elaborate or do not really explain the deep meanings or the underlying deep meanings behind the festival. What impressed people, most people, would be like that the festival is full of crowd. It is so it has euphoria and yeah, it's all about happiness. It's all about party, something like that. But we should have tried to, go deeper. We're trying to, dig the meaning, the underlying meaning. And according to Fallacy, 1987, yeah, a festival indeed, go along with the underlying deep meanings, yeah. Next will be the traditions. I guess it is quite easy to understand that tradition represent a set of beliefs and convention passed down through generation, reflecting historical continuity and inherited patterns. Yeah. In Indonesia, we got what is it called? One sample that I have in mind now is that we have some sort of tradition where when people passed away, yeah, certain Muslim community, they will gather during the afternoon or during the evening to pray together. It's called Selamatan in Bahasa Jawa, in Javanese language, and it is inherited from generation to through generation, yeah, through generation. Okay, so the idea is that it is transferred, it is handed down from the older generation. And later the rituals, yeah, it is quite easy to understand too. That ritual is pattern of behavior or practices related to sacred. Ritual refers to a complex and variable practice that is an essential element of religion. Okay. At the beginning of this course, I told you that our government has formulated a definition of culture that includes Pancasila, or 5 principles, to become one of the determining factors in defining the term culture. And I would need to say then that our cultural life, our cultural practices can be reflecting both, traditional values that are not so religious, but at the same time it could also intersect with some sort of religious values. In this context, we should try to dig more on the symbolic meaning. For example, later I'll be explaining about the tradition of sungkeman, that happens in every Eid al-Fitr in Indonesia, especially in the Japanese context. Besides, it reflects some sort of Japanese traditional values. It also has something to do with the Islamic values that both are intersecting. And perhaps this what makes the government formulate the definition of culture according to them, that it's should be confirming the five principle. That is the first principle, to believe in God, something like that. Yeah. And it is also actually confirmed by Durkheim on how society is shaped by religion. It is not only culture. Even if I told you before that culture is quite influential in helping people to understand life, it is even stated by Tisser that all that human beings learn to do and to live considered culture. But Durkheim, on the other hand, also give us more insightful perspective that the society is shaped by religion. Durkheim decided that people call seed into social groups through religions, particularly via large-scale ritual ceremonies. According to him, religion served a vital function. It acted as a societal adhesive, fostering social solidarity, and it provided a framework for our understanding and experiencing society. One of the keywords I made bold is a societal adhesive. It is common in Indonesia to see people gather on special occasion, especially on special religious occasions like Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, and other religious, events. Even the Chris, yeah, for the Christians, they also gather with their family, and it becomes a societal adhesive. We might have in Indonesia, we may have a different arguments, but when it comes to Eid al-Fitr, people are forced to shake hand, to ask for forgiveness from their partners, from their friends, or anyone that they think they don't like, but they have to. Anyway, it is still optional. Yeah, it is not mandatory to shake everyone's hand during the Eid al-Fitr. It is only encouraged, and it is what is it called, highly advised by especially the religious figures in Islam. And I'm going to continue. As individual societal identities were shaped by the religious connections, this perspective view religion as a key factor in enabling society, representing its perceptions of itself and actively preserving social unity through ritual, as per Durkheim's theory. Thus, Durkheim thinks or views that the existence of religions manifested in religious values are determining in bringing society together. And this is what I'm seeing in the context of Indonesian social context, in Indonesian social life. People are going to the mosque, people are going to pray 5 times a day for the Muslims. They have to they have to meet their friends in the mosque, in masjid we call it, and it becomes one of the opportunity for them to meet the larger community, not being an individual, but they go to the church, perhaps they go to the mosque to meet someone, creating some sort of religious events. And yeah, religion in this case is quite determining in helping people together. And we see that, yeah, we see that especially during the perhaps zuhur prayer. People in the office, they gotta go to the masjid or the mosque to meet to pray. Then they meet their friends, they make some interactions, something like that. But probably it is quite difficult to find a masjid during the Fajr. Yeah, it is. We can only see fewer people. Yeah, during the Subuh prayer or the Fajr prayer. Okay. The idea is that religions take part in helping people together. Yeah. All right. We come into the Indonesian festival. I broke the festival down into three categories. First is the food festival. Second is the cultural and art festival, and the third is religious festival. I'm going to get you to this video about fast foods to celebrate Eid al-Fitr in Indonesia. I took it from the YouTube, but probably it will help us to contextualize our understanding into the topic I'm going to talk about later. The operator, would you please help me to play the video? Fast foods to celebrate Eid al-Fitr in Indonesia.
Six best foods to celebrate Eid al-Fitr in Indonesia. The 30 days of a spiritual journey by fasting have come to an end. Ramadan has gone and people around the world welcoming the festive day Eid al-Fitr, not to mention Indonesia. As a country with the largest Muslim population, Eid is the most awaited moment throughout the year. It is accustomed for Indonesian to embrace the spirit of this Muslim holiday with elaborate food preparation. Quoting the Ministry of Tourism data, here are 6 most favorite foods you can enjoy on the most table of Indonesian. Ketupat. Eid al-Fitr will means nothing without this legendary Indonesian food. When you see many people on the streets selling light green yellowish young coconut leaves, surely the sign of Eid is coming. Ketupat is a rice cake wrapped inside the diamond shapes of a woven palm leaf pouch. Opor. This mouth-watering meal is just the perfect couple for the savory ketupat. Chickens are cooked to a juicy state within coconut milk seasoned with mixed ingredients of spices such as lemongrass, galangal, coriander, and many more. It is cooked in low heat for about 40 minutes until you are drawn by its aromatic scent. Sambal goreng ati. Another carbohydrate source for the plate is this spicy mix of fried potatoes cut in dices, beef liver, and a whole lot of freshly grind chili paste. In another variation, you can opt out of the beef liver and replace them with marble-sized meatballs. Sayur labu siam. The most common vegetable menu during Eid al-Fitr in tables is the labu siam, or chayote soup mixed with spicy coconut milk. The succulent spicy gravy will melt perfectly in your mouth along with the savory flavor of opor and ketupat. Nasta cake. Signature holiday cookies is also a trend on a special occasion like Eid al-Fitr. Nasta keeps the surprise taste of sweet pineapple paste enclosed in soft bites of golden-colored dough made of flour, sugar, and eggs. With various shapes of rounded, ovals and onto a giant bite size, Nasta tops one of the best-selling items during special holidays. Kastangel. Kastangel is fusion of Dutch-Indonesian treats, that also writes as kastangels, meaning cheese fingers, especially favored by the savory fans. These stick-shaped cookies are definitely perfect for a light snack over some favorite beverage.
Okay, is everyone feeling hungry right now after watching the video? Hopefully you have your meals, yeah? You have had your meal. Okay, I'm proceeding with the next subtopic on the food festival. Yeah. Has anyone tried one of the foods, one of the what is it called, food menus as mentioned? especially the Indonesians, yeah. All right. So it's all, you know, about Indonesian food that especially served during the Eid al-Fitr in Indonesia. I think some of the food sounds familiar to most of us as we are Indonesians, but some might not for the other participants who are not from Indonesia. Yeah, and I believe, yeah, not all of the food are of your likeness, but you should try someday, yeah? Especially the opor ayam. I would really suggest you to taste it, yeah. Opor and the ketupat. I will gladly welcome you to my house during the Eid al-Fitr if you want to visit. And yeah, it must be a good, what is it? A good moment to be with you. Okay. One of the popular food festival in Indonesia is the festival Jajanan Bango. It is quite popular as Bango is one of the you know products that is probably best selling one in Indonesia. It's a ketchup, yeah, a Bango, and yeah, it has already become, what is it called? It has also big impact, yeah, within Indonesian's culinary, I guess, food festival in this case, yeah. It is stated that the festival Jajanan Mau, commonly known as FJB, we call it FJB, is renowned and time-honored snack extravaganza first introduced by Bango in 2005. So this festival, elaborate culinary catering, is meticulously orchestrated as part of Bango's extensive endeavor to uphold and celebrate the archipelago's diverse culinary. When you come to this festival, you will find lots of diverse culinary menu from different provinces in Indonesia. Yeah. You will probably find soto, and soto is one of the Indonesian popular food, and it actually, even if it's popular, its province has its characteristic for its soto. Yeah, so you will find it different when you eat soto. It's some sort of soup. My apologies, I don't have the picture, unfortunately, but it's some sort of food. Yeah, when you taste it, it's just like spicy, I guess, not that spicy, but it's full of spices. Yeah. When you try soto in Semarang, it will be different from soto in probably Purwokerto, one of the region in Central Java, or in Banyumas, or in Kudus. Yeah, it will be a different one. That's why we are so diverse when it comes to culinary. Yeah, and this festival, the Jajanan Bangu, as it is endorsed by the big company and industry, well, I believe there is some sort of popularizations of the culture. The food itself or the culinary menu. Let's take an example. Satay, it's like barbecue, something like that, is a traditional product. We really celebrate satay. We eat satay like in special occasion, especially the Eid al-Adha, and it is getting popularized within the festival Jajanan Bangu. Yeah, and yeah, that's why it reflects the popular Bangu. Sorry, festival Jajanan Bangu as one of the food festival in Indonesia. I would say that it is not always negative or bad to work together with the corporations, with the with the big industry, as it also encourages the existence of the culinary menus in traditional menus of Indonesian. Yeah, we thank through this festival anyway. It reached a wide variety of community. It also accessible in different parts of the city. Sometimes it is held in Semarang, sometimes it is held in Jakarta, or yeah, and every year, I guess. In addition to the capital city, I mean, the Bango Jajana Festival has also been successfully organized in several major cities in Indonesia, yeah, including Medan, Makassar, Bandung, and etc. This is one of the samples of the festival Jajanan Bango samples, yeah, venue. And you can also check on this. How crowded was that? Lots of people visiting, and there is a special decorations. There is a traditional decoration. The white and black flag over here, we can find it in Bali normally, but it can also become the elements of the festival decoration. And yeah, as I said before, that the interactions of the traditional culture and the popularization or the popular culture would result in certain degree of what is it called, advantages, I guess, that both are influencing. On one hand, the popularization of the popular culture, whether it is the big company or the media, are, what is it called, supporting the local traditional food stall in a way they could exhibit their food products. On the other hand, the traditional food seller, they're helping the big company to be seen by the public, to be seen, to be clearly seen by the public in this case. And there is some sort of mutual benefit in this case, mutual, whether it is financials or anything else. Yeah, and this is indeed a popularization of the festival. Okay. Indonesian traditional cuisine festival are frequently backed by food product associated with major industries. And this support is valuable for restaurant owners seeking to showcase their cuisine at the festival and in an appealing, vibrant manner. So there's some sort of, decoration or something like special events that makes the food exhibition or food bazaar seems to be more interesting to see, to visit. And yeah, the industry helped them out to make this happen. In this case, again, they're giving mutual benefit each other. Yeah. Revenue generating opportunities may be realized through the sale of admission ticket. Yeah. Do not forget that the visitor might find the ticket booth before getting into the food festival. They gotta pay some money, and yeah, it's all about capitalization indeed. Yeah, and the profit, they might also find some sort of additional souvenirs to bring them with them home. And the mass productions of the souvenir during the events clearly reflects the popularization too. Okay. Right. Next would be the Arts and Culture Festival, but let me check if I have any questions or not. Yeah. Okay. As an archipelago, I guess. Yeah. This is always our motto, that Indonesia is an archipelago. Indonesian society exhibits remarkable diversity across a variety of dimensions, including tradition and culture. This rich diversity can serve as a significant asset for Indonesia in the context of national brandings, I guess. Yeah, so one of the concept of the within the cross-cultural understanding as well as cross-cultural communication is nation branding. And it helps our country to be visible, within the global relation. It really helped us. For example, rendang. Many participants, I guess, have had already heard about rendang, yeah, which is from Padang, and Padang is Indonesia. It helped us to make to increase our visibility within the global relation, within the more international context, yeah. And clearly, arts, food, and cultural festival would do that in the context of the national branding, yeah. Indonesian society, diverse array of tradition and art, has emerged as a highly esteemed community exhibited at well-attended festival. This fusion with popular culture occasionally facilitates a re-evaluation of the record for high culture, rendering it accessible and esteemed by a broader audience. It is not necessarily deconstructing the culture itself, actually. It is not. But somehow, some kind of situation, some kind of phenomenon could happen. That's why sometimes there are some protests. There are some protests opposing the idea of certain, cultural practices that are shown in a too vulgar way, I guess. Yeah, into a too vulgar way. It is too explicit, I mean. Yeah, and sometimes those who care about the culture in a conservative way would make a press release or press conference on about their opposing ideas, that a culture cannot be exploited in such exploitative way. Yeah. And sometimes it happens if you go to the internet and try to track some of conflict about cultural practices in the Indonesian media. You'll find many news reports exposing this issue. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with the Indonesian Cultural Festival. Let's begin with this one, that culture serves as a reflection of the Indonesian nation as a unitary state and acts as a symbol of or characteristic of its region. Let's go with that. I tried to search for the Indonesian Cultural Festival samples, and I've got so many Indonesian cultural festival, really well organized by the local government, its local government. So in Kalimantan, we have the festival Erau Kartanegara, and in Sumba, we got Tradisi Pasola. In Bali, Denpasar, or any neighboring regions, we got a festival Ogoh-Ogoh. In East Java, for example, number 10, we have a festival Rep Ponorogo. To make it simpler, I'll take one of the festival as the sample, but of course you can go try to look for the information about the other cultural festival. Let's begin with this Dieng Cultural Festival. I live in Wonosobo, and Dieng is part of Wonosobo Regency, so it is relatively easy for me to relate with this festival, the Dieng Cultural Festival. I would need the operator to help with the video playing. It's entitled Dieng Cultural Festival 2017. Let's see the recap of the events.
Buka mata, rasakanlah kehangatan, senyuman, cinta dan persahabatan. Mari bergenggam tangan pesona Indonesia.
All right, that was one of the video recaps of the Dieng Culture Festival 2017. It's actually has been held since, if I'm not mistaken, it will be around 2010, and yeah, till today, the festival has attracted so many participants from all over provinces. Even we can see some people from the international context, yeah, this case. Okay, so what is it? What is it? As you can see, the Dieng Festival, offers lots of performances, including the dancing as well as the sacred ceremony. We call the ceremony as the dreadlock cutting ceremony. I translated it, and in its Indonesian language, we call pemotongan rambut gembel, ya, potong rambut gimbal, and we translate it into the dreadlock cutting ceremony. So the annual Dieng Cultural Festival is a vibrant cultural celebration held in Dieng. So for your information, Dieng is a what is it called? Some sort of highland, what to call it in more scientific terms. It's like highland Dieng. It's in central Java, Indonesia, and it's showcases the rich tradition and ceremonies of the Dieng community. Dieng used to be Hindu majority, dominated by the Hindu communities back then during the Mataram Hindu era, and this nowadays it has already dominated by the Muslim community. Anyway, the tradition still some of the tradition are still exists. We can still see so many Hindu temples in Dieng, as well as you can still see some Hindu religious ceremony in Dieng, and many communities from several Indonesian province visit Dieng for several religious purposes. Yeah. And this Dieng Culture Festival, it typically takes place in August. The festival features a delightful array of activities, including art performance, parades, and traditional ritual. And one of the most interesting, as I told you before, is the dreadlock cutting ceremony. It is a unique Dieng traditions, is where people can, see so many, what is it called, cultural practices within the event. Yeah, and I think I need to show you the picture of or the practice of the dreadlock. It is like that, and this the right picture, that is Mr. Ganjar Pranowo, used to be our governor. He attended the events to help the I think the religious figures and the what is it called in Indonesia? We call tokoh masyarakat, public figure, to assist them in cutting the girls' dreadlock here. Yeah, I've got some resources to elaborate here. That the first one, that Dieng Cultural Festival, has showcases a captivating blend of local cultural tradition, including ceremonies, prayer, traditional attire, music, and more. The festival exposure on social media and internet use has integrated it with popular culture. It is echoed by the media. We've got so many websites suggesting people to attend the festival. That's why I would say that it's become popularized to the media, which also characterized by the so-called capitalization in this case. And it results in increased visibility and the promotion of the intricate cultural aspect in a more easily understandable manner for a wider audience. Not many people know the dreadlock ceremony and the dreadlock cutting ceremony. But nowadays, if we meet people probably who have visited Dieng before, this will become a talk that they know the concept, they know probably the ritual, the step, because it is what is it called? It is popularized. Many people come to see them in a more interesting way. There's a music festival, even jazz festival within the Dieng Culture Festival. And historically speaking, this tradition, according to the folklore, yeah, happened like this. The dreadlocks are believed to be the manifestation of Kiai Kolodete. Kiai Kolodete is one of the famous figures within the Wonosobo people's legendary something or folklore, of course, growing naturally or not being self-made. The tradition of cutting dreadlocks originated in the Dieng Plateau area located on the border between Banjarnegara and the border area between Banjarnegara Regency and Wonosobo Regency. Individuals who possess naturally grown dreadlocks are expected to refrain from cutting them. You know, it's not easily to do. It's not easy to do that you cut a dreadlock in your head here, and you can just cut them within according to the Dieng tradition. You have to have a special kind of ceremony in order to respect the Kiai Kolodite. And what is it? This ritual, this is usually happen during the August, but some people do this in other occasion. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to happen in August anyway. Yeah, and this practice has been upheld through generation as part of long-standing tradition. Kiai Kolodite, the prominent figure in the tradition, who is he? Yeah, the historical research by the Wonosobo People Struggle History Writing Team stated that Kiai Kolodite, a prominent figure in the establishment of Wonosobo, so is one of the founder, I guess, of the regency, and was known for his long dreadlocks. And Kiai Kolodite was accompanied by Kiai Walik and Kiai Karim. This marked the beginning of the tradition where young children, usually young children, yeah, in the Dieng Highland community naturally grew dreadlocks, followed by ruatan. Ruatan is a ceremony, a traditional ceremony. It is more like religious one to ruatan, something like that, to cut them. Yeah. And what is kiai? Maybe some of you were wondering what kiai is. Kiai, according to the Indonesian dictionary, is a term for scholar, or clever scholar in Islam or in Muslim traditions. It's called kiai, a term for the scholar. We call kiai. Perhaps in America or in other countries, we call this figure imam. And yeah, kiai is more like a cultural term. It usually also they usually also hold strong cultural influence to their community. So it's not merely a religious one, but mainly religious, of course. But they can also have cultural impact to their community. And when you try to look for the picture of this, in Google, you'll find a spaceship, some sort of a unique and distinguished fashion of the kiais. That are some of them, wearing what is it called? Some sort of jubah in Bahasa Indonesia, we call it, and the headscarf like peci, and yeah, it's very Indonesian, I guess. It is very Indonesian. Sometimes it is also relates to the Arab traditions that to wear the jubah, but sometimes we also do have our own style. And nowadays, our kiai also wear batik and pants, okay, not only sarung, something like that. Yeah, it is getting modernized. All right. These are all about the Dieng Culture Festival. I believe this is one of the interesting one to follow if you want to go further with the explanation or the the depiction of the festival. You can go to the Dieng Culture Festival next year, I guess. Yeah, in August. And next would be the religious festival. This will become one of our topics today that besides the cultural festival, Indonesia has also been a country with, rich religious festival, especially in the context of Muslim community, the Muslim community. It's called Eid al-Fitr or Lebaran in the context of Indonesian society. I will let you know about the other terms, the explanation later. And what I'm going to say about Lebaran or Idul Fitri in Indonesia is that it is quite different to celebrate Eid al-Fitr in Saudi Arabia, because in Indonesia here we celebrated really, really good, I guess, yeah, because it has numerous various traditions during the Eid al-Fitr or Lebaran week, yeah. And on the sacred day, the country, Indonesia, has numerous unique tradition, including mudik, to go to the hometown after a long day of, working. And halal bihalal, there is a special kind of occasion to shake hand one another and to admit your sins to the community or your partner, ask for forgiveness. And we do have the ketupat that we have just talked about, and opor. This one is the most prominent, the most popular one during the Eid al-Fitr or Lebaran in Indonesia, yeah. Before the Eid al-Fitr day one, there usually be something like takbiran. People gather in the mosque. They chant the prayer. They chant the prayer like by saying, "God is great," through the speakers. And yeah, it makes the celebration of Eid in Indonesia typically livelier. Okay. And also the most interesting one, I believe this is the most interesting one during the Lebaran or Eid al-Fitr. We have the holiday allowance we call as THR, Tunjangan Hari Raya. That is when you got the money from someone who probably is older than you. For example, my parents give me the holiday allowance, or me myself give them the holiday allowance or the THR. We usually do this. We normally do this during the Lebaran week. We meet our relatives, we meet people, and if we have money, we give it to them. Yeah. And according to one of the expert, yeah, I took that it is said that Lebaran is rooted from it's to have its roots in Hindu traditions. Yeah, it is called that Lebaran actually comes from a Hindu word meaning finish. It marks symbolizing the end of fasting periods. After a month fasting, the Muslim should end the fasting period, and to mark the end we call lebar, finish, lebar, selesai, lebaran, yeah, something like that. I'm explaining you one by one the tradition, probably in a short and a brief way. First is called mudik, yeah. I told you before that mudik becomes one of the traditions, and it becomes part of the festival, religious festival in Indonesia. That is called mudik, to plan to return to your place of origin or hometown. We call it kampung halaman in Indonesia. Pulang ke kampung halaman. After years of working in town, in the center of the country, you're coming home to see your parents, to your relatives. It's called mudik. And the celebration somehow has a degree of sacredness, as it happens usually a week before the Eid al-Fitr. It means it is not only a physical return, but you are trying to, you're trying to understand it in a spiritual way, that after thinking about, works, you have to think about coming back to your place of origin. And some cultural scholars view homecoming as a symbol of an individual returning to the place of their origin. It carries a religious significance, depicting a transition from the complexities of urban life to the purity associated with one's hometown. I'm going to show you the millions of Indonesians had home for first time since the pandemic. It is a mass situation, and yeah, it is interesting to see, I guess. And the operator, I would need your help again to play the third video. Millions of Indonesians had home for first time since pandemic.
At Pasar Senen Station in central Jakarta, thousands of travelers are waiting to see their families.
I am so happy that I can travel again. I have missed my mother so much.
The annual homecoming travel before Eid is a tradition in Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim-majority country. Millions leave the major cities to spend the holidays with their families.
The situation is so different from last year and 2020. When the COVID-19 cases were high, travelling was limited. But now we actually need to provide extra trains.
Health workers at public transport hubs are providing vaccines for travellers.
Many passengers get vaccinated here because they know they need it to travel back to their hometown.
Last year, the government banned hometown travel because of concerns about soaring COVID-19 cases and deaths. But this year, it says the country is in a very different position.
Now, if we talk compared to 270 million people in Indonesia, there is already like 70% already received the first vaccination, and it's like 61% already have the second shot.
Millions will spend hours in traffic as they try to leave Jakarta, one of the world's most densely populated cities. But many say it's worth the trouble. Satin Eni's family has a 12-hour minibus ride ahead of them.
I want to show my youngest daughter to my mother. She has never met my baby because of the pandemic. I'm so happy they can finally meet.
More than 14 million people are expected to leave Greater Jakarta in the holiday period.
It's the first time since the pandemic began that Indonesians have been permitted to travel back to their hometowns for Eid celebrations. Local authorities aren't just allowing the travel, but facilitating it as well by providing free transport options.
There's a festive atmosphere as the travellers start their long-awaited holidays and begin to reunite with their loved ones. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera, Jakarta.
Okay, thank you. You can imagine how big it was, yeah, to experience the mudik, yeah. We got a lot of people joining the mass, movement from the town to the village, yeah. And it's actually happened in before the Eid al-Fitr. Okay, I'm going to read some of your comments, everyone. So I've got some feedback from students. So I would need to from participants, and I would need to read them, I guess. From Sazib, before he said that dangdut music is popular culture in Indonesian context. Yes, indeed, it is now popular. Even it used to be only for the oldies, for the older people, but nowadays it is getting more popularized. It is getting popularized, so the youngsters and yeah, even the children's, yeah, the kids, they know like the dangdut music. It is highly celebrated within the Indonesian media. It has so many dangdut contests or something like that. Yeah, so it is getting popular. And I've got also other comments from Ika Kusumawati. Thank you. That culture festival in Indonesia are many and interesting. Yeah. Yes, Ika, please come to see the festival. I'll be gladly accompany you to see the festival, especially in Dieng if you want to. Sometimes we can arrange the time to see the festival, and probably we could have some discussion after this if you want to know further about the cultural festival. Yeah, we got so many festival. It is not only centered in Java. Yeah. I received a comment from Dian Sati, Indonesia. Thank you. Talking about Eid al-Fitr culture here in West Kalimantan. One of my friends from Java got culture shock when she moved here. We spend much money welcoming families to the house at Eid. Yes, indeed. Many foods and snacks are served for people at home, and the celebration of Eid will be 1 month. Families or our colleges can visit our house since the Shawwal month. Yeah, it is interesting that, and it's good to know that in Java, here in Central Java, it's sometimes still optional to give the money to the relative or not. But yeah, there's some sort of, I will feel embarrassed perhaps, or yeah, quite embarrassed if I don't give the money to the kids, as I'm no working as a professional. I'm expected to have more money than them, so I should give them. Yeah, but actually that's not mandatory. You can just skip the family gathering if you want to. No, I'm kidding. Thank you, everyone. I guess that is a very good comment coming from you. I think I have one more slides to explain. The moderator, would you please allow me to give one more time? The last one, I guess. To give the allowance, sometimes also called salam tempel. Salam tempel. It's like, to define this is shaking hands accompanied by discreetly offering money or envelope containing money to the person being greeted. So you meet someone, you cut your envelope during the Eid, and then you give it to them. This is for you. And usually for some of Indonesian, they will refuse. No thanks, no thanks, but they took it somehow. Okay, this will be like this if you want to see in a more clear way. The salam tempel. It doesn't always reflect some sort of negative sense, that salam tempel, because it's a discreet way. It's not like that, but we can take it as something interesting based on its context, of course. Yeah, it's not a bribery in a way that it happens in Eid al-Fitr. We give it to the person we respect without any intention of receiving something back from them. Yeah, or we just give it to the kids, something like that. And the last one, it's called sungkeman. It's also become one of the celebrated tradition during the Eid celebration in several regions in Indonesia. For example, Central Java and East Java. The tradition of sungkeman involve family members offering apologies and blessing to one another. Typically, there is a gesture of respect and seeking forgiveness, particularly from parents or elders. So the elders would give you the forgiveness, while us, the younger, would ask for forgiveness. And this tradition originated in Japanese culture and has since become integral to its celebration in various regions. The sungkeman is also meant to help reestablish harmonious and loving relationship within the family. I'm going to show you my picture, my family picture during the sungkeman procession. It is like this. So this is my dad wearing the white shirt, white long shirt, and this is my wife asking for forgiveness from my dad, and it is my sister and brother, my younger. And here we go. This is me asking for forgiveness from my parents, from my mom, and we do it this way, asking for forgiveness. There's actually another festival we call Balloon Festival. It also happened during the Eid celebration during the week. It is very interesting we got Cappadocia Fun Java. It happens in in my regency, Wonosobo. It usually take place during the 8th week. I think that will be all from me. I'm expecting for some question or feedback from the participant and giving back the time to moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rifka. What a brilliant presentation by our speaker. Please give him an applause. It is very interesting when talking about Indonesian culture actually, because it covers many fields such as arts, belief, laws, morality, foods, and many more. And there are lots of culture that we can see and learn from Indonesia, as Mr. Rifka explained before, especially about tradition and festival. And I am feeling hungry now because Mr. Rifka mentioned some delicious food. All right, now we are going to move to the Q&A session. For all participants, just feel free to ask. You can write down your questions on the chat box below or just press the raise hand button and I will let you to ask to our speaker. Since writing the question, let me read some comment from the participants. It is from Shazib. I got cultural shock when I came to Indonesia. The first questions I used to listen, apakah kamu punya pacar? Because in Pakistan, we don't discuss these things. We think that these are our personal privacy. How about that, Mr. Rifka?
Okay, so Indonesian small talk can be offensive according to some cultural standard, I believe. That's why the beginning, it was suggested that to understand other culture, we have to avoid from, embracing ethnocentrism, I believe, and we gotta try to be more open about that, which is not easy. Yeah, I have also some difficulties when it comes to certain questions, certain private questions, and yeah, I believe that become our habits, our traditions to ask for someone's to greet someone when we meet them. And sometimes we think that it is impolite if we don't make any conversation with people we meet. Psychologically speaking, that will be like that. So that's why some of the question can be so offensive or uncomfortable for some people. But actually, you can try to explain it in a good way that it is it is my privacy, and I wouldn't answer that. It is still acceptable, especially within the more academic community. But for the people in general, I think it's not easy, I believe. Yeah, so try to adapt with that. But we do have this kind of situation sometimes. Yeah, that having a conversation with people sometimes is considered a good way to make a good relationship. So we are forced to talk, and it is quite impolite sometimes. People consider that when we don't make any conversation. Problem is that we do not have anything to say, but some standard small talks, then people just say, siapa pacar kamu? Or apa kerja kamu, something like that, which is sometimes could be offensive. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Suzab. And I've got another questions. Do I need to read myself, or have you read that? I forgot. Sorry.
Let me read it for you, Mister. Yeah. The question is from Brilliant Stefani. Thank you, Mr. Rifka, for the great material about cultural festival in Indonesia. So I have a question. What the impact of popular culture for traditional culture in Indonesia? As we know that young people like Gen Z not really know their own culture because most of us not really interesting about the culture. Thank you.
Thank you, brilliant, Stephanie. That was clever questions. And well, I believe there is a shifting nowadays that the young generation is getting more exposed to the national culture or the more traditional culture. In a way, they are, accessing the internet, and the internet provide us with a bunch of information, including the promotional videos of traditional culture. And in the context of my presentation, the DN Culture Festival here, offers a clever way of presenting the traditional culture, because the committee of the events, they're recruiting, some sort of, musicians, actresses, popular figures that becomes the young generation's cup of tea, I guess. Yeah. So they will attract them to come to the cultural festival. You can imagine um, the dreadlock cutting combined with the jazz music concert during the evening. So it will attract lots of young generation. And I witnessed that there is a shifting on this, that some of the young generation in Indonesia, in the context of attending the Teen Cultural Festival, we got more participant now. We got some famous musicians like Anji and Noileto. Probably if you're familiar with the jazz music, we got Mus Mujiono. They come to the music festival. We got, even if I'm not mistaken, Ariel Noah, which is one of the famous figure in Indonesia. And yeah, I think this would be interesting, that the popularization of culture and making the traditional culture and combining it to the popular context or popular culture would result in a good collaborations. It is not like in Indonesia, in Java we have puppet show, the wayang kulit performance. Not many young people like to attend the performance, like to see the performance, but we got several figures like Sujiwo Tejo. He's trying to promote the wayang kulit and making his own story and telling the story using the puppet show. And now the young generation, they're attracted, and at least they are aware of the Indonesian culture through the popularization of the popular culture itself. That will be all, moderator. And thank you for the questions, Brilliant.
Yeah, I think the time is up, Mr. Rifka, but before I end this session, let me read one of the comment. I tried a lot and finally adopted. Always have to smile when look at the people. We don't have to continuously look at others because I think Indonesian people don't like when we look at them. I usually follow the same patterns in street the way they tell permisi. We have to be polite while crossing someone by nearly. The next, thank you, Mr. Rifka. So interesting explanations. Excuse me. I want to ask you, what must we do facing people who did not tolerate to our culture because they pretend some culture does not match to their religion rule? For example, shaking hand men and women in Islam. Just give the simple answer, Mr. Rifka.
Yes, to Sazeb, I feel you. I'm sorry, I feel you. But yeah, I read the research. I'm sorry that I could not provide the exact resource of the research, but it is said that Indonesian is the most friendly people in the world. It's world most friendly people. Yeah. I don't know where it comes from, but it is possible, yeah, that we have to greet everyone we pass when we are walking, and yeah, saying permisi, hello, hi, something like that. It is quite tiring for some of us, but yeah, that's our tradition anyway. You can choose still. You can wear the mask probably. No, I'm kidding. And yeah, it is our culture that greeting people, showing some respects will be the practice of culture. that deeply root also in the values of friendliness itself. Yeah. And the next question coming from Nur Hasanatun Nikmah. What must we do facing people who did not tolerate to our culture because they pretend some cultures does not match to their religious rule? For example, shaking hand men and women in Islam. Yeah, I fully understand this, that most of us probably have certain kind of values that we cannot get out of, because we strictly follow that. And in the context of cultural harmony, I guess, yeah, we can just simply put aside the ethnocentric view. I'm not saying that you have to shake someone else's hand, but you can just try to be creative with the physical touch itself, to avoid the physical touch. For example, in the context of shaking hand with the opposing sex in the context of graduation, students graduation. Once I saw our rector, just make a space between him and the persons who was not who did not want to shake her hand. So it's that he or she just express it by clapping her hand like this, and it is quite understandable, I guess, that we should respect someone else's culture. We don't have to follow other culture when it comes to the principle, the basic principle. So in this context, we got to try to be, this is normative anyway, but still try to tolerate it, yeah, and avoid from embracing ethnocentrisms too much. Yeah, it doesn't mean that we lose our principle anyway, and they will agree with that, I guess.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rifka, for the great answer. Now we are going to move to, I'm sorry, it's close to the end of our meeting today. I hope that all the participants will learn a lot of things from our speaker today, and I'm sure they will. Mr. Rifka, thank you very much for your time and the knowledge that you had shared with us. It is an honor to have you here as our speaker. And I give it back to the MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mbak Iva, for being the excellent moderator for today's session. Unfortunately, our time is up. Let's give applause for moderator and the speakers. Thank you very much, Mbak Iva and Mr. Rifka Pratama, SSM Hum. Okay, guys, we have distributed the attendance list for the sessions. If you have not marked down your attendance, please do so. Okay, we have on the last sessions today. Tomorrow, we will have a session with Dr. Sukarni Suryaningsih, SSM Hum, from Faculty of Humanities, Diponegoro University, Indonesia. Make sure all of the participants to join us before 3 Jakarta time tomorrow to avoid Zoom admission crowd. Thank you so much for your attending today, guys. See you tomorrow. Stay healthy, stay happy. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye
having
bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rifka.